Listen, if you're the one who always gave, always fixed, always comforted, and they still acted like you were replaceable, this is for you. Because the moment you stop the favors, stop the emotional support, stop the access, something inside them panics, and that's when regret wakes up. In the next seconds, I'm going to show you exactly what happens in their mind, the stages they go through, and how to hold your power without chasing, begging, or breaking your own standards. So stay with me. Listen to me. Because the moment you stop giving, the moment you stop doing the favors, the moment you stop being the soft landing, the moment you stop making their life comfortable at the cost of your own peace, that is not you becoming cold. That is you finally becoming clear. For too long, you have been offering access, like it is a right they automatically deserve. Access to your time, access to your care, access to your energy, access to your forgiveness, access to the part of you that keeps trying even when you feel unseen. And when you give that access without consistent respect, people don't always become grateful. They become used to it, not because you weren't enough, but because you made it easy for them to forget what life feels like without you. This is what a value blackout really is. It is not a trick. It is not a performance. It is simply the moment their mind can no longer take your presence for granted, because your presence is no longer available on demand. They can't feel your value while they are swimming in it every day. They can't measure your impact while you keep absorbing the consequences for them. They can't notice the warmth if you are always there, acting like a heater for their cold moods. But the second you stop, the second the favors disappear, the second the comfort isn't offered, the second your softness is no longer reachable, something inside them panics, not always loudly, sometimes quietly, sometimes in denial, sometimes with attitude, sometimes with silence, but it begins. And I know the hardest part for you is that you have been trained to believe love means being endlessly available, that love means proving your loyalty by overgiving, that love means staying even when your heart is exhausted, that love means understanding their wounds more than they understand yours. So when you stop doing the extras, you feel guilty. You feel like you're abandoning them. You feel like you're being harsh. You feel like you're playing a game. But this is where I need you to be strong, because what you are actually doing is removing the illusion, removing the padding you used to put around their choices, removing the comfort they received without offering care in return, removing the benefits they were enjoying while they kept you uncertain. When the blackout starts, they suddenly feel the absence like a shock because they didn't realize how much you were carrying. They didn't realize how many tiny things you did to keep the connection alive, how many times you initiated, how many times you forgave first, how many times you softened your needs so they wouldn't run, how many times you swallowed your disappointment so you could keep the peace. And now that you stop, now that there is no extra effort coming from you, the relationship starts to show its true shape. And that shape can be terrifying because it reveals how one-sided it was, how much of the togetherness was built on your willingness to overfunction. This is why no favors, no comfort, no access is not cruelty. It is honesty. It is the first time the dynamic becomes real. Because when you keep giving, you are paying the emotional rent for both of you. You are keeping the lights on while they come and go. You are cleaning up the mess while they act like it's normal. And you are calling it love because you hope your effort will finally be recognized. But recognition that only appears after you withdraw is not appreciation. It is dependence waking up. It is the nervous system realizing it lost the thing it was leaning on, and you deserve more than being someone's safety net while they treat you like an option. Here is the part that is going to hit you in the chest. People who only value you when you step back were never valuing you. They were valuing what you provide. They were valuing the way you regulate their emotions, the way you soothe their loneliness, the way you make their life easier, the way you offer closeness without requiring responsibility. And when you remove that access, they finally meet the raw truth. They have to sit with themselves, with the emptiness they were hiding behind your presence, with the consequences they avoided because you kept making it okay. That discomfort is not your job to fix anymore. That discomfort is the price of reality, and reality is the only thing that can create real respect. The blackout is powerful because it creates contrast, and contrast forces awareness. When you are always there, you become background noise. even if you are precious. When you are always forgiving, forgiveness becomes expected. When you are always available, availability becomes assumed. But when you pull your energy back, when you stop rescuing the connection, the silence becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, they see what they lost, or they see what they refuse to protect. And either way, it reveals the truth to you as well, because you finally get to see what happens when you are not carrying the whole thing on your back. Because your job is not to teach them by suffering. Your job is to stop teaching your own heart that it must earn love by bleeding. Your job is to stop confusing anxiety with intimacy. Your job is to stop thinking that loyalty means self-abandonment. This shift is not about punishing them. It is about protecting you. It is about finally letting someone experience life without your constant contribution, so you can see who they are when you are not saving them from the consequences of their own behavior. And please hear me, this is where you must hold the line, because the moment they feel the blackout, they may reach for you. But it won't always look like maturity. Sometimes it looks like a casual message. Sometimes it looks like them testing if you're still there. Sometimes it looks like them acting like nothing happened. Sometimes it looks like sudden attention, not because they've changed, but because they miss the benefits. And if you instantly hand them full access again, the contrast disappears, the awareness fades, and you return to the same cycle, just with fresh hope and the same ending. So expand your strength right here. Let them sit with the absence. Let them feel the discomfort. Let them notice the missing. Because this is the only moment their nervous system is honest. This is when they finally understand that you are not guaranteed, that your love is not automatic, that your presence has a cost, and that cost is respect. If they can't show up with consistency, if they can't own what they did, if they can't offer repair instead of excuses, then the blackout becomes your answer, not your revenge, your answer. And while they are dealing with the emptiness they avoided, you come back to yourself. You refill the places you kept draining. You remember what peace feels like when you are not overthinking someone's mixed signals. You remember what it feels like to be steady inside your own body. You remember that love is not supposed to feel like begging for basic care. You were not meant to love like a volunteer in your own relationship. You were meant to love like someone who is valued, chosen, protected, and safe. And safety is not a luxury. It is the bare minimum. That is why stopping the favors matters, why stopping the comfort matters, why stopping the access matters, because access without respect turns your heart into a resource, and you are not a resource, you are a person with limits, with needs, with softness that deserves to be held gently. And the moment you start treating your love like it is precious, not unlimited, not automatic, not something that must be proven, is the moment others are forced to treat it that way too, or they lose it. And if they truly want you, they will rise to the standard. They will meet you with consistency. They will show you with actions over time that they can hold what they once took for granted, that they can protect what they once ignored, that they can earn the access they thought they could keep forever, and you will feel it, not as anxiety, not as confusion, but as a calm certainty that finally lets your heart breathe and keeps your dignity intact and keeps your love safe and keeps your future open and keeps you from shrinking yourself ever again for someone who only remembers your worth when the lights go out, when the silence hits, when the comfort is gone, when they finally realize what they lost and what it will take to deserve it now and what it will take to build something real this time in a way that doesn't require you to disappear inside it. Listen to me, because what I'm about to tell you might be the most freeing thing you hear today. Regret does not start as love. I know you want it to. I know your heart wants to believe that when they finally feel the loss, it means they suddenly realize you. It means they suddenly become deeper, softer, more committed, more ready, more loving. But that is not how it usually begins. It begins as discomfort, as withdrawal, as a strange itch in their chest, as a restlessness they can't explain, as a sudden sensitivity to the silence they used to create. And if you don't understand this, you will confuse the beginning of regret with the return of love, and you will open the door too early, and you will pay for it with your peace. Because the first stage of regret is not romance, it is the shock of consequences. It is them sitting in the exact reality they built and feeling how empty it is without you smoothing it over. It is them realizing that the attention they used to receive freely is no longer available. The emotional support they leaned on is gone. The warmth they assumed was guaranteed is missing. And suddenly, their nervous system starts bargaining, not always with you directly, but with their own mind. Maybe I should text. Maybe I should check. Maybe I should see if they're still there, not because they have changed yet, but because they don't like the feeling of losing access to what comforted them. And this is where you must be careful because regret can look like love when you're starving for closure. Regret can look like love when you've spent months being dismissed, ignored, minimized, and you finally see them move. Regret can look like love when they suddenly become sweet, suddenly become attentive, suddenly become curious, suddenly become present, and your heart thinks, finally, this is what I wanted. But I need you to understand, someone can crave you and still not be ready to cherish you. Someone can miss you and still not respect you. Someone can feel lonely and still not be emotionally safe. The beginning of regret is often selfish, and I don't say that to make you angry. I say it to protect you. It is selfish because it is centered on their discomfort, their loss, their ego, their identity, their control, their sudden awareness that they are no longer the one deciding the distance. They used to have the power to pull away and know you would stay. They used to have the power to delay, to disappear, to keep things vague and still feel secure that you were available. And now you are not. So what you are seeing first is not always their love for you, it is their fear of losing what you gave them. That's why regret starts as irritation sometimes. They may act cold, they may act confused, they may act like you're the problem, they may label you as dramatic, changed, difficult, because it's easier to make you wrong than to admit they took you for granted. They may test your boundaries with small things, a casual message, a joke, a memory, a hey stranger, a hope you're okay, and it's designed to do one thing: check if the old access still exists. Check if you're still soft, still reachable, still willing to drop your standards just because they showed a little attention. And listen, the most dangerous version of regret is the version that comes with charm. It comes with compliments, it comes with sudden interest, it comes with emotional language they never used before, it comes with, I've been thinking, I miss you, I'm sorry, but without depth, without details, without ownership, without a plan, without consistency. It's like someone sprinkling perfume on a room that has mold. It smells better for a moment, but it doesn't heal what's underneath. Your heart smells the sweetness and forgets the pattern, and then you're back in the same cycle, except now you're more attached, more invested, and more tired. So when regret begins, don't ask yourself, do they miss me? Ask yourself, are they taking responsibility? Don't ask yourself, are they reaching out? Ask yourself, are they repairing? Don't ask yourself, are they emotional? Ask yourself, are they consistent? Because real change is boring in the beginning. Real change is steady. Real change doesn't rush you, doesn't pressure you, doesn't guilt you, doesn't demand instant forgiveness. It understands that trust is rebuilt slowly, through repeated actions that match words, through patience that honors your healing, through humility that doesn't make you feel guilty for protecting yourself. And here's the part I need you to hold close to your chest. Your softness is not something to be accessed during their lonely nights. Your heart is not a place they get to visit when their ego gets tired. You are not a temporary comfort that helps them feel better and then gets discarded when they feel powerful again. If regret is real, it will show itself as respect for your boundaries. If regret is real, they will not ask for comfort before they offer security. If regret is real, they will not try to skip the hard conversations. They will not act like nothing happened. They will not pretend the past didn't hurt you. They will want to understand, not defend. They will want to build, not just return. Because yes, regret can evolve. It can become love, but only when it passes through honesty. It can become commitment, but only when it passes through ownership. It can become something beautiful, but only when it stops being about their discomfort and starts being about your dignity. That's when you see the difference, when they can say without excuses, I see what I did, I see the ways I kept you uncertain, I see the ways I benefited from your patience. I see the ways I didn't protect what mattered, and I don't want to repeat that. Not once, not in a dramatic speech, but in a consistent way over time. And if they can't do that, if they only return to ease their loneliness, if they only return because they miss the attention, if they only return because the silence bruised their ego, then understand this. You are not witnessing love. You are witnessing withdrawal. They are withdrawing from the loss of you like someone withdrawing from a habit. And habits are powerful, but habits are not devotion. You must not confuse intensity with sincerity. You must not confuse longing with readiness. I know your heart wants to rescue them, to soothe them, to make it easier, because you are a loving person, because you don't enjoy watching someone struggle, because you are compassionate. But compassion without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. And you have betrayed yourself enough. You have explained enough. You have waited enough. You have tried enough. So this time, let regret do what it is supposed to do. Let it reveal who they are when they don't get immediate access. Let it show whether they can rise or whether they only reach when they are desperate. And when you hold your ground, something incredible happens inside you. You stop being controlled by their emotions. You stop living in reaction. You stop letting their sudden attention become your oxygen. You start choosing from clarity instead of craving. You start recognizing that the real victory isn't making them regret. The real victory is you becoming the kind of person who never again accepts love that comes with confusion, who never again settles for affection without safety, who never again trades dignity for temporary closeness. So if they come back, let them come back to a new version of you, a version that doesn't melt at the first sign of warmth, a version that doesn't collapse into hope, a version that can say calmly, I hear you, and I will watch what you do. Because words are easy when someone is scared, consistency is hard when someone has to change. Let their actions prove their regret has matured. Let time prove their intentions are real. And if time does not prove it, then don't call that a tragedy. Call it protection. Call it redirection. Call it the universe removing the person who only wanted your light when their world went dark, and making space for someone who will protect your heart, even when they are comfortable, even when they are secure, even when they are not afraid of losing you, because that is what real love looks like: steady, safe, respectful, and earned. Listen to me, because this is the part that separates people who heal from people who repeat the same heartbreak in different faces. Your boundary is the lesson. Not your explanations, not your long messages, not your late night paragraphs, not your tears, not your proof, not your suffering, your boundary. The moment you stop begging to be understood and you start standing in what you deserve, life becomes loud in the most powerful way, because the world finally has to respond to you, not the version of you that keeps shrinking, but the version of you that is steady. You have spent so much time thinking that if you could just say the right thing, if you could just find the perfect words, if you could just explain your pain with enough clarity, they would suddenly get it. You have tried to translate your heart into sentences. You have tried to make your needs sound reasonable. You have tried to soften your disappointment so you don't scare them away. You have tried to be easy so they don't run. But what did it cost you? It cost you your self-respect. It cost you your nervous system. It cost you your peace. It cost you the quiet confidence you used to have before you started earning love like it was a job interview. And I know why you do it. You do it because you care. You do it because you see the good in them. You do it because you remember their sweet moments and you think those moments are the real them. You do it because you believe that if you stay gentle enough, patient enough, understanding enough, they will finally choose you fully. But here is the truth. The version of you that keeps explaining is not teaching them how to love you. It is teaching them that you will stay even when your needs are ignored. A boundary is not a threat. It is a decision. It is not punishment. It is protection. It is the line you draw that says, my heart is not a playground. My time is not disposable. My love is not a free trial. My peace is not negotiable. And what makes a boundary powerful is not how aggressively you announce it, it's how calmly you live it. Because the moment you stop arguing your worth and you simply require it, the dynamic changes. This is where people get it wrong. They think the lesson comes from disappearing dramatically, from proving a point, from making someone jealous, from trying to trigger fear. But the real lesson is much quieter. The real lesson is consistency. It is you not returning to the old pattern just because they offer a moment of warmth. It is you not dissolving your standards because they finally text. It is you not trading your dignity for temporary closeness. Because every time you break your own boundary, you send a message to your own heart: my needs are optional. And your heart listens, your mind listens, your body listens. That's why you feel anxious, because your body knows you are betraying yourself to keep someone near. So when you hold your boundary, you are not only teaching them, you are rebuilding trust with yourself. You are telling yourself, I will not abandon you again. And that is the most heart-touching thing you can do, because so many people think healing is about finding the right person. But healing is also about becoming the person who does not accept the wrong treatment anymore. And let me tell you what happens when your boundary becomes real. People reveal themselves. Some people will rise. Some people will respect you more. Some people will finally show up with effort, with care, with consistency, because your boundary forces clarity. It forces maturity. It forces them to stop playing in the gray area. But other people will fight you. They will guilt you. They will call you cold. They will say, you changed. They will act offended that you are no longer available the way you used to be. And listen, that reaction is not proof that you are wrong. It is proof that your boundary touched the part of them that benefited from your lack of one. Because when someone is used to having access to you without responsibility, your boundary feels like rejection. When someone is used to you overgiving, your boundary feels like punishment. When someone is used to you explaining yourself into exhaustion, your boundary feels like disrespect. But that is not your problem. That is their adjustment. That is their consequence. That is the discomfort that comes when a person can no longer take from you freely. This is why your boundary is the lesson, because it removes the confusion. It removes the cycle. It removes the endless almost. It forces one of two outcomes. Either they learn to meet you with consistency, or you learn to walk away with peace. Either they respect you, or they reveal they never planned to. Either they show up in a new way, or they prove they only wanted the old version of you, the version that was easy to neglect. And I know holding the line is hard, because your heart wants to rush, your heart wants to fix, your heart wants to rescue, your heart wants to turn their sadness into your responsibility. But your boundary is where you stop carrying someone else's emotions. Your boundary is where you stop making their comfort more important than your safety. Your boundary is where you stop confusing your empathy with your duty. So when they reach out, you don't fall apart. You don't collapse into hope. You don't flood them with love to prove you're still good. You stay steady. You watch. You observe patterns. You require time. You require consistency. You require ownership. You require repair. And you do it not with anger, but with calm, because calm is the language of self-respect. Calm says, I'm not here to beg. Calm says, I'm not here to convince. Calm says, I can love you and still choose myself. And if they truly want to be in your life, they will not demand immediate comfort from you. They will not demand instant access to your softness. They will understand that your heart needs safety now. They will understand that the relationship needs a new foundation, not the old routine. They will not pressure you to move fast. They will not punish you for being careful. They will not make you feel guilty for protecting your peace. They will show you patience. They will show you humility. They will show you the kind of effort that doesn't disappear when the fear disappears. And if they cannot do that, if they only want the old benefits, if they only want you when it's convenient, if they only reach out when they feel lonely, then your boundary saves you. It saves you from repeating the same chapter. It saves you from becoming the person who keeps reopening the wound just to feel close. It saves you from the slow erosion of self-esteem that happens when you constantly accept less than you deserve. So make this your promise, not to them, to you. I will not trade my dignity for a moment of attention. I will not abandon myself to be chosen. I will not accept uncertainty as love. I will not shrink my needs to keep someone comfortable. I will not keep explaining what respect looks like, to someone who keeps refusing to practice it. And when you live that promise, you become unstoppable, not in a loud way, in a quiet way, in a way that changes your whole energy, because you stop chasing, you stop proving, you stop pleading, and you start attracting the kind of love that meets you where you are. Your boundary is the lesson, because it teaches them how to treat you, and it teaches you how to protect yourself. It teaches them that access is earned through respect. It teaches you that love without safety is not love you need. It teaches them that you are not an option. It teaches you that you are not disposable. And one day you will look back and realize that the moment you held the line, the moment you stayed steady, the moment you stopped returning to the old version of yourself, was the moment your life opened. Your heart healed, your confidence returned, and your future finally started to feel light again, and you didn't have to beg for it.